The Center for Innovative Technology and Mach 37, Virginia's Cyber Accelerator, present Uniting Women in Cyber: Leadership, Innovation, Inclusion.
Good afternoon and welcome. So Mary Beth and Ed, thank you so much for pulling this talent together in one room. We've got a jam-packed day, and I think all of you in this room are going to get to hear from some wonderful speakers that are going to share perspective with you that I think will go a long way. You'll notice each of the items that we talk through really talk about cyber and women in cyber and the ways that we can really, I'll say, move the needle and continue to move the needle. So our presentation that we're going to do is emotional intelligence. And I have to admit, when I was reflecting on my discussions with Arlette and Teresa, I was trying to reflect on how I use it. And I have to admit, I think I've come to realize that I probably use it 90% of the day, and maybe 10% I'm applying logic. When I think about I joke, I have this running joke that when I walk in a room, I just love for everyone to be like, oh my God, she's here, so good to see her, great, you know, nice to see you. And instead, it's somehow how I have made their life harder, or I have made their job harder, or I have disrupted something and I just can't seem to get it right. And so that emotional intelligence must kick in immediately, right? Helping people understand why we do what we do. I joke I didn't wake up and decide I'm gonna you know, upset someone for today. I didn't. I woke up thinking I need to protect this company, I need to protect these employees, I need to protect these customers, and there's only one way to do that. And applying emotional intelligence in that is really important, to understand what the implications to them are and how we can help them understand that a little bit better. My two panelists who will be here we're gonna talk about some examples and share some ways that we do talk about it and use it in our everyday. The other thing I'll talk about is the we part of our fireside chat. And I was joking, Mary Beth, I was like, is there gonna be like a fire and we can have some s'mores and, you know. But the we is, cyber is not an I, right? So if you think back, it's not a forensics analyst sitting at a desk at their keyboard just trying to do some analysis. It is really full-scale engagement, end-to-end, I'll call combat and loosely, but it really is. It's each person bringing a different perspective, looking at something through a different lens, and connecting them all together, and that's how you solve the problem. And every day in cyber, we are solving problems, 24/7. I say all the time, this job has zero boundaries. It's necessary. It doesn't make it easy for those of us who are in it. Sometimes it makes it hard to attract folks. So helping folks come to this environment and understand what they can bring to the table, and that emotional intelligence is what we're going to talk to you about today. So with that, I'm going to ask Arlette and Teresa to come in and join me, and we're going to talk through a few things for you guys.
So we can pick multiples.
All right. So as I talked about emotional intelligence, one thing, Arlette, we talked about perhaps sharing with the group, you know, your perspective on that. You know, I give the example, I change something every day and I've made someone unhappy. So talk a little bit about some cases that you've seen and how it's, you know, moved an organization forward and how you've applied it in some of your situations.
And I've never heard these words. I hate your tool, and I am going to take it out. It's still in. Yay. I think one of the things about emotional intelligence is also letting somebody else take the hit sometimes. And I would never do that. I always stand up and say, no, hit me, no. But there's sometimes when it's like, wait, no, I know somebody else that's got to be a chief risk officer who's going to be taking the hit for that one, because they're going to say, yeah, no, it's a nice idea to take it out, but we really can't do that in spite of the fact that you really, really want to. But it's almost exactly this. Yeah, I just made your life miserable. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but, you know. And
I'll keep this PC. I always say, I swear I didn't mean to piss in your Cheerios this morning, right? But it is kind of what you feel like when you walk into a room with people, right?
Oh, 100%, yeah. It's like, and so then you look for like the frictionless thread. So that's one of the things I was thinking of, though, was introducing a new capability, because every time a security person walks in and says, I have a new capability, they just look at you like, how are you going to ruin my life, right? So you kind of wait for the time and wait for the time, and it's like, okay, now we have a time to do this. And then you jump and say, okay, wait, I have a thing that can help this, and it's frictionless. And they don't believe you at first. And then you show them, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe. And then, so that's like the wait for the right time, and then work it into the rhythm of the organization. And I think that for new capabilities is a really critical thing. And it's hard to do because you're like, I have a thing, we can do this by magic tomorrow. Wait for the time, and then wait for it to really work. That was one of the ones that, it's one that I'm working right now. It's like, wait, we can do this, and you get the right people, and as you get transitions and people changing in places, and they want to make a mark and something that'll make a big difference for them, you can help them make a big difference. It doesn't even have to be about you. And I think that's a big piece of emotional intelligence, too, is not having to take all the credit for everything every moment of the day.
Okay, great. So, Teresa, what role can we play in evolving the way organizations continue to approach cybersecurity, and how do we use EQ as part of that?
Yeah, so, can you hear me?
No. Here, wait, there's 5 up here.
Here, all right. You can hear me now, right? Yeah, you can tell the difference. So first of all, I'd love the title of this conference, Uniting Women, because I think women, and the more we're united, can make a big difference. Studies certainly have shown that women are better at emotional intelligence than men. And men, you have your talents. I don't want to take anything away from you guys. But repeatedly, women, emotional intelligence is about people, and women are really good with people. And we all know from being in the cybersecurity business that cybersecurity, that domain, has people as a major part of it. People, technology, policy, processes, all of those combine to make that domain. So if you take those two facts, first, you know that women are really good with people. Second, cybersecurity has a lot to do with people. You can see that if we marshal our forces, unite together, we can really move and evolve organizations to a whole different culture around thinking about cybersecurity.
Can I add on to that real quick?
Sure.
Because one of the things that when you go out to Silicon Valley or whatever, people are like, oh, we have machines and we can find all the machines that are doing things. At the end of the day, cybersecurity is about human beings attacking or protecting other human beings. This is not about machines doing things to machines because they sit over there and do whatever they want whenever they want. This is all about people.
Right.
And when you, especially the insider threat question, it's all about people.
Right.
One other thing I wanted to mention about the discipline as a whole is that when you say cybersecurity, you think it's like this monolithic discipline that does this, you know, and every time you see the University of Maryland picture on it, they're all staring at a screen, right? This isn't what cybersecurity looks like in real life. So, you know,
If it did, we'd be we wouldn't look as stressed up here.
yeah, no, that's true. We wouldn't. We just look at screens all day.
I know.
No. But there's so many pieces to it. There's analysts. There are computer programmers and technicians and engineers and analysts and systems and processes and people and the whole thing related to it. And it's so diverse that attracting people to it, it's a problem-solving discipline.
Yep. All right, so last question. There's 5 key examples of EQ. There's self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. I'd ask each one of you to pick one and talk about how you feel it's so important to transform an organization from a we versus, from an I to a we, and which one you would use.
What were the 5 again?
There's going to be a test after this. Self-awareness, motivation, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills.
I'm going to go with self-regulation.
Okay.
It's the hardest of them. It's like, that's the one you're like, no, I have a solution, do it. No, but that's the place where you step a step back and you say, okay, this is a recommendation. It needs to get buy-in across the board from a wide variety of people, and they have to understand what it is, and you can't get excited about it in a way that turns them off. You can get excited about it, but you can't do the pounding on the table kind of thing. You have to moderate your approach, and you have to take it at their level, and you have to translate it into what it is that they're looking for. And all of that requires you, me, to step back a step and really take the time to do it right. And it's really important.
I'm going with all of the above.
Well, yeah. Oh, come on, that's
Look,
a cheating
you know,
one.
I spent 33 years in the intelligence community, and one of the hardest problems we had was breaking down barriers, breaking down the silos that people build around themselves, around their groups, around their organizations, the power bases. That was, I think, one of the hardest things. And to be really successful, not just as an individual, but as an organization, play to your strengths. Play to your strengths, ladies, especially. Your strengths are all of those that Kim mentioned, and you have them, and you should use them, and you should think consciously about using them, because they will make a difference for you, not just in your work job, but in your real life, too. So
yeah, I mean, I actually agree, all the above. The self-awareness one is a big one, but I mean, we are in the people business, right? It's as simple as that. I agree with Arlette. It is not machines. We're in the people business. So number one, it is so important that we understand the different styles and perspectives and views of the folks that are in the organization. And it's multi-layers, right? We deal with the analysts, we deal with the customers, we deal with executives, all across. Understanding their view and being aware of that and being able to tailor your message to help them understand, you know, one person is going to receive a message very differently than someone else. And so being able to use that emotional intelligence really does allow you to tailor to that audience. The people part of it is so big because at the end of the day, we all want to be successful. Our goal at the end of the day is to protect either our company, ourselves, our shareholders, our stockholders, you name it. And so we wake up every day trying to figure out how do we do that better. Every single person comes to work with that same motive. So why not put it all together and figure out how we can push it forward as one collective team? So again, I think the we versus the I, there is no I. There hasn't been an I in a long time. We just have to figure out how do we embrace and bring in others into this and allow folks to really realize how we can make a difference with this.
And Kim, can I jump in just one thing? Mary Beth talked earlier about the stats, especially about women. I've got one good stat for you. How many of you out there are under the age of 29? And do you have a computer science degree, or are you working on one? Yeah. There's a recent stat out by the Center for Science and Cyber that says over 50% of the women under the age of 29 are getting computer science degrees. So good. It's time to embrace each other and bring those, as she talked about, those 10,000 women that made a difference in World War II. We can do the same thing today in cybersecurity.
One other thing. Wait. Yes, we can. The other thing, and all of you here know this, but we have the hardest time communicating. This is a fun discipline. It takes a lot of time and effort.
I mean, we're still
this
laughing.
Is fun. So we have a good time. Okay.
Right? I agree. No, I think we're wrapping up. Thank you. Thank you again for your continued support and your knowledge and everything that you do in supporting women in cyber. So thanks everybody.
For having us.
Yep.
Thank you.